Are we nuts? That is the question. Are we nuts? We're live on New Year's Day at almost 7 o'clock in the morning. It's probably going to be a few of us. I feel like we are nuts. Happy New Year. We're going to wait. I have a few minutes before it's 7 o'clock, but I wanted to get on here early. So that everybody gets their notifications and all that stuff. I guess none of us stayed up to midnight. Oh, we have someone else from the Netherlands. Cynthia's from the Netherlands too. Well, we're going to get some positive vibes today, hopefully. Heidi, do you like get up every morning and go walking and stuff? Like, are you real athletic? You seem to be. Hey, JC, miss you. Shane asked about you. Was it yesterday? He's like, are you and JC mad at each other? I went, no. And he was like, why hasn't she been over here? I'm like, why haven't you been to her house? I'm like, have you seen her post at all she's done? It's like, she's like little Miss Entrepreneur. So, you've done a lot. I do want to come buy some canned goods, not canned, but jars of the elderberry and all that. I do want to come buy some. I love you too. South Louisiana. Happy New Year, Monica. Facebook. There's Facebook. There's Jonathan, where you been? I feel like Jonathan's one of my kids. He's not my age. He's much young. He's my kids, but I love him to death. I met him through farming, and I think a lot of him. I love him. I have to pull my glasses up like this because y'all know my vision is terrible and I need new glasses. Is it 7 o'clock yet? It is 7 o'clock. Okay. My New Year's resolution is to go get new glasses so that I can see. That's the New Year's resolution. I couldn't decide if I wanted to get ready today because, I mean, it's not like I'm going anywhere, like anywhere's open, but I just feel like I need to for my mental health. Because when I film and I see myself not fixed up, I'm like, Judy, you look ridiculous, Judy. But it's like when you have a farm and you have farm chores every day, it's like sometimes you feel like getting ready, but majority of the time you're like, I'm going out there in my robe looking like who to thunk it. And because you're scooping poop, that's what you're doing. So, but I will tell you that I have been Miss Entrepreneur. Like, seriously, I already have 2 videos edited. I have my Thursday video already like ready to list. I already have my Saturday video ready to list. What the heck? That is not like me. Okay, I got to see what Jonathan's saying. Jonathan, you are gorgeous with your hair long. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, today I want to talk about Shane. Okay. There's a lot that has I don't know if it's like come to me in the past 2 days that it's like my eyes are open to seeing different things in my marriage. And so I thought as we go into a new year, marriage is hard. It's hard to keep the spunk, to keep your marriage alive, to date, it's just difficult. And I just want to talk about it because a lot has happened in the past 2 days that have opened my eyes. So today's conversation will be about Shane behind his back. Okay. His fault. He's in the tree stand. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but what year did we get married? 2017, I think. I am not good with dates. You know how most girls know their anniversary, the first time they kissed and all. I know no anniversary dates at all. I barely can remember our wedding anniversary. It's usually Shane that is reminding me, hey, we got an anniversary coming. I'm like, oh yeah, what day is it? Like, I don't remember. I don't know if I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at it. As a matter of fact, I told one of my friends this week that I was going to purchase a calendar. Now, it's bad when you have to write your wedding anniversary on a calendar. It's bad. It's bad. But it's the truth. Maybe it's because I've been married so many times. I don't know. I'm like, which anniversary is it? Okay. I just can't remember. I cannot remember. And I never can remember Shane's mother's birthday. Terrible. I usually have to call my father-in-law, which is no longer married to my mother-in-law, to say, hey, when's her birthday? Because I can't remember it. Okay, so anyway, when we first got married, I told you guys that, we got married on a Saturday, and Shane left for Freeport, Florida that Sunday and was gone the entire summer. So, the new marriage excitement was not there because he wasn't home. And at this point, Larry did not live with us. So, if you can imagine, I am freshly married, freshly living in a new place because I used to live in Alabaster. I've moved to Gulf Shores, Stapleton. So I have moved to a new house, new community. I'm hours, 5 hours away from my house, my normal house that I raised my kids in. So new marriage, new community, new home. My son, Vanson, just graduated high school and goes off to college. So I no longer have anybody in the house. So I'm no longer, making lunches and saying you better be home by 12 o'clock. All that went away. So it was a bit overwhelming to me when Shane and I first got married. And because he left, we didn't really talk about, how when you first get married, you change your beneficiaries and you get on each other's checking account, you do all that. You got to go get your license changed and your social security card changed for your new name and all this stuff. And I got to tell you this funny story. So I was Judy Smith for 15 years. I have to go to the doctor in Gulf Shores when I first got married I had to go find new doctors, right? So it was all new. And so I'm sitting in the waiting room and they call my name. And because of HIPAA, they don't really say your first and last name. They either say your first name or they say your last name, and then you walk into the room. And so They called my name. I got up and I walked into the room, and the nurse starts doing my vital signs and everything. And she's like, "Are you, what medications are you on?" And I'm sitting there talking to her. And to make a long story short, she said, what is your name? And I said, Judy Sneed. And she goes, we have Smith. They just said the word Smith, and I walked into the doctor's office because I thought my name was Smith, and I wasn't even the right patient. I mean, that's how new and green I was to new community, new name. I didn't even know my last name. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. You called Smith, and I thought my last name was Smith, but my last name is Sneed. I'm sorry. I've been a Smith for 15 years, and I thought my last name was Smith. So I had to excuse myself and embarrass myself and walk back out to the waiting room and wait for them to call Sneed. So anyway, everything was just new. The fact that I no longer had kids in the home, that was different. And living in a house with no one, like no husband, no kids, no nothing, it was just different. And you have to remember that when Shane and I first got married, I wasn't a very strong person. I was broken. I was working on myself. I had been working on myself since 2010. We got married in 2017. So I had been going to counseling regularly and working on myself for 7 years, but I was not well. I was not. So needless to say, I was kind of slipping into this sucks. I don't know anybody. No one's here. My kid is gone. And then you're faced with how much college costs. And I'm thinking, I just moved here. I have no job. My son's college is out the wazoo, and I feel like I'm drowning. And when I would try to talk to Shane about, the fear of, oh my gosh, I'm starting all over. I don't even have a job. I got married to you and moved everything to here. And so when we first got married and he moved home that summer, he said some things to me that did not make me feel like we were a team. As a matter of fact, when he would leave for work, I would sit there in my head and go, do I leave? Like, what do I do? I have made a mistake again. And I would just whelp, going, I have screwed. Like, why can't I find a good marriage? I am the worst picker-outer in the whole wide world. Why do I keep putting myself in this situation? Like, what is wrong with me? And I remember when he would go to work, I remember, like, I would have counseling, this is when I was having counseling 3 times a week. And I would sit down with my counselor. Actually, you ready for this? This is how bad I wanted to get better. I drove to Birmingham to go to counseling because at this point, they would not do counseling by phone. This was pre-COVID. So I would have to drive 5 hours to a doctor's appointment. But I did it because I was like, I got to get better. And so I remember sitting in the doctor's office going, he's so crazy. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, he said some things to me that does not make me feel like we're on the same team. I don't know what to do. Do I leave? Do I get divorced after a couple of months of being married? What do I do? And I can remember her going, let's talk about it. Let's sit down and talk about what you're feeling. And I'm like, we're not a team. We're not as one. He wants to be over here and I'm over here. And I don't know how to deal with this. And it took me a long time to overcome the fear that I have that Shane did not do on purpose, but it triggered some severe trauma in me. And so we've been married almost 8 years. And that fear stays on the front of my forehead to this day. Oftentimes, I'm like, we're not a team. We're not a team. And I bet you watching our videos are like, what are you talking about? He does everything for you. The way he looks at you, he's in love with you. And I sometimes have blinders on and I don't see it. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. And sometimes, do you ever, like, when you're in a situation, do you ever go, is it me? Like, is it me or is this really happening? Like, it's almost like I don't even trust my intuition. I'm like, am I am I just thinking this or is this like really happening? And I have to work with my counselor all the time about, I tell her, but I don't feel like we're a team. And she's like, Judy, why? And I'm like, I just don't. I feel like he don't care about me. He is all about Shane. He does what Shane wants to do. He leaves me behind. He puts himself first. He does not put me first. And she's like, I know, but you told me that he built you a hay barn. Yeah. And you told me that, like, you know, like she'll like remind me of stuff. And I'm like, I know, but you don't understand. And she's like, well, let's like talk, let's like break it down. Like, why do you feel like this? And I think it is the trauma response from the fear of being left behind or the fear of being homeless, which I know is the most ridiculous fear. I'm never going to be homeless, but it is a true fear for me. If I really sat down and wrote on a sheet of paper what I have, like, okay, Judy, Shane's passed away. Now what? If I sat and wrote on a sheet of paper everything, I would be in a panic attack. I would be like, can't breathe in the ER. Like, if I really sat and thought about what happens. And I'm like, why do I do this? Why is this trauma triggered from time to time? And why does it just like take over my brain? Like, what? Like, if I know in my heart that I will never be homeless, I mean, I've got friends that are not going to let me be homeless. Okay. But if I know in my brain that I'm not going to be homeless, then why am I sitting here worrying about being homeless? Where is it coming from? Where? And it creeps up all the time. This is the thing I have to work on all the time because it'll come out of nowhere. Like, I will be like fine, and then all of a sudden Shane will trigger it or something will happen and I trigger it. But it's like, it's a real trauma response. And when I, like, you know, let's say I try to talk to Shane about it. Okay, let's think about this just a minute. I sit down, a friend, my husband, and I go, I feel like I cannot breathe. I feel like I'm about to be homeless. I look like a psychomaniac. If you tell someone what you truly feel, you look like a psychomaniac. If I sit down to Shane and go, listen, you said this and it triggered this, and this is how I'm feeling. Well, that's dumb. Why do you feel like you're going to be Judy? Like, why do you do that? Judy, you have more than I have. Like, if I sat down, I can remember sitting down a friend one time, and I was in the trauma response, and she was like, I don't understand. And I was like, what? She was like, you have more money in your retirement than I have. Judy, if my husband died today, he has no life insurance. Our house is not paid off. I make $600 a month on my retirement. You have more than me. And then I'm like, oh. And then I feel guilty for feeling the way I'm feeling, because I'm like, oh, I just probably triggered her big time. But the thing is, she doesn't, she if her husband died, her house is not paid off and she makes $600 a month, and she does not worry about being homeless. And I'm like, how does she do that? Like, how do you have nothing and you're my age and you're okay with it? Like, how do they do that? Like, you don't have no retirement? Like, you have nothing? Like I would not be able to sleep in. I would be in a panic. And so I sit here, and when I tell people my fears, people think that it's dumb, or people think I'm a psychomaniac, or you need to find something else to worry about. You need to go clean out a closet or something, Judy. You are worrying about something that is absolutely not right. And it almost, when someone does that to me, it breaks my heart. And I feel all alone. And I feel like no one gets it. No one gets me. Because I make absolutely no sense. I make absolutely no sense. You could walk on my property right now and you could see all that we have, and you would be like, Judy, you could sell these tractors. You could sell all this equipment and pay off your house. Like, why are you worried about being homeless? And I'm thinking in my head, they don't get it. They don't get it. They do not get it. And my question to you is, do you have some type of trauma or fear that no one understands? No one understands. And when you try to talk to your spouse or you try to talk to a friend, you look like a psychopath. Wait a minute. You're worrying about what? It might be something like, maybe you worry. I forget what the word is. Where you worry about the way you look. Metamorphosis no, that's not it. What is it called when you think you're fat, but you're not fat? Not anorexia or anything. Anyway, dysmorphia. I think that's what it's called. So anyway, let's say that you weigh 140 pounds and you're having, let's say that you've been big your whole life. Okay. You've been like large your whole life. And then all of a sudden you lose a ton of weight and you weigh 140 pounds and you look fabulous. But the trauma of being overweight is stuck in your brain. And you're constantly going, oh my God, I'm scared I'm going to gain weight. Oh my gosh, I look terrible. Oh my gosh, my saggy skin. Oh my gosh. And you sit here and go to your friend and you say, I am struggling today with being overweight. And she's like, have you looked in the mirror? You weigh 140 pounds. And you're like, oh, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it because your brain is stuck in PTSD from being overweight, and your brain stores all that you got made you got made fun of in high school. Boys didn't like you. People called you fat. You couldn't wear the latest fashions because they didn't come in your size. You couldn't go to a concert and get a t-shirt because they didn't make your size t-shirts. You got all this trauma in your brain from being overweight. But when you get away from it and your normal size, the trauma stays in your brain. It never leaves. You can go and let's just say it's Christmas and you can go and eat dessert and your brain is triggered and going, oh my God, I probably just gained 5 pounds. Oh my gosh, I am probably just gained all my weight. Now I'm out of control. Now I'm probably going to eat like crazy and I'm going to gain it all back and I'm going to be right back in the same shoes that I am. And my blood pressure is going to be, you start spinning and you hear yourself going, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to die of a heart attack. And oh my gosh, I'm going to be fat and I have to buy all new clothes. And you start having anxiety and panicking and your emotion takes over. And you go to places that you shouldn't go because of a trauma trigger about the way things used to be. Do you get me? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? And it may not be anything to do with being homeless or being overweight, or there's something that makes you go to psycho land. And there's something that if you said out loud what your fear was, someone's going to think, why are you worrying about that? And you're thinking in your head, if they only could slice open this brain and look at what my brain goes through every single day over this crazy trauma, they would be more sympathetic when I go through this trauma. But when you live with a person that has this trauma, and you're like, the trauma creeps up every now and then. Your spouse or your best friend or your children or whoever lives with you and is around you a lot, when you start triggering this trauma experience, they're like, oh God, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And it seems so ridiculous to someone that doesn't experience what you experience. So this week, Shane was supposed to be gone hunting until Monday. So he left Christmas Day and he was going to be gone from Christmas Day till January the 6th. And then there's my brain. And my brain starts going, he could care 2 craps about me. He leaves me on Christmas Day. I'm laying here on New Year's by myself. He could care 2 craps about me. And then it starts escalating to, hey, Judy, you remember that time when y'all first got married and he said this, this, and this? And what happens is your emotions start lying to you. And this, when I talk about being balanced physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, your emotions will lie. So when you're sitting all alone, let's just say, and you have a trigger response to PTSD, you'll start saying to yourself, he could care less about you. You're not that important. A stupid deer with horns are more important than you. But is that the truth, or is that an emotional response that I'm receiving because it's triggered trauma? Are you smart enough? Are you well enough to stop yourself in the middle of a trauma episode, to get yourself out of emotional mind and get yourself to the facts? That's what our 2025 goal is to be the best version of yourself and to learn what your trauma is. A lot of people don't even know what their trauma is. I don't think Shane does. Shane is not a counseling kind of guy. If I said, hey, let's go to marriage counseling, he'd be like, I am not going to marriage counseling. Well, dude, you need it because you're a train wreck. But I'm just playing. But you've got to learn when your brain goes to crazy land. And when it goes to crazy land is when you're in emotional mind. When you start telling yourself your family doesn't care about you, or your family says this, or whatever, another trauma that I have is my family saying I'm crazy. But did my family really say I'm crazy? Or am I telling myself that my family tells me I'm crazy? And I got that wonderful title when I was in high school and ended up graduating in the hospital. I got the wonderful title of My Sister is Crazy. And I'll be 54 this year. And the trauma of being in high school and my sister is crazy, don't listen to her, is here. It's still, the trauma still hurts me to this day. Is there a situation that you've been in your childhood, high school years, that someone said something to you and you can remember where you were, what they said, and if you sat and thought about it too much, you would sit and bawl your eyes out? That is a trauma response. And what happens is, if you got into a similar situation, like maybe your spouse said the same thing that person said, or similar, then you go into emotional mind and your PTSD kicks in from being in that situation, and then it electrifies. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. And the next thing you know, your whole day is ruined and you hate everybody around you. Because I remember, I can tell you where I was, whose class I was in. I was in high school. I was in 10th grade. No, 11th grade. I was in 11th grade. It was a history class. I can't remember my teacher's name, but she was funny as ever. What was her name? Miss Thomas. Miss Thomas. And I had overactive bladder in high school, just like I do today, and I had to go to the bathroom a lot. And my seat was in the far side of the classroom. So in order for me to go to the bathroom, I had to walk in front of the entire class to go to the bathroom. Well, I told you guys that in high school, my junior and senior year is when I started putting on a ton of weight. And I raised my hand and I said, "Can I go to the bathroom?" She said, "Yes." And I start walking in front of the classroom. And she said to me, "Girl, you walk so hard." What she was saying to me is, Judy and Larry both, we walk on our heels. So when we're up walking around, the whole house hears us. We don't walk soft. What she was telling me is I walk on my heels and I'm like boom, 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 boom. But what I heard is, "Girl, you're a fat butt. Every time you take a step, it's pound, pound, pound. You've gained so much weight that you look ridiculous." And in front of the whole entire class, I bet my face turned blood engine red because she said, "Girl, you walk so hard." And I got to the bathroom and I'm bawling my eyes out because what I heard is, "Girl, you have gained so much weight that you sound like an elephant walking across the classroom." I couldn't even come back to class because I was hysterically crying. And to this day, when Shane says, "Would you quit walking on your when you quit walking on your heels?" I remember in 11th grade in Miss Thomas's class, walking across the room in front of the entire class and her saying out loud, "Girl, you walk so hard." And I remember sitting in the bathroom bawling my eyes out. That is trauma, a trauma response, because I was already sensitive because I had gained so much weight. And I felt like she was telling me I was fat. But I was in emotional mind because did she say, "Hey, girl, you've gained so much weight. You've gained so much weight. You feel like an elephant. It sounds like an elephant walking in the classroom." No, she did not say that. She said I walked hard, meaning I walk on my heels. I could weigh 120 pounds and I walk hard. But I let emotional mind get to me because I was sensitive about gaining weight and I didn't hear the facts. I heard what I wanted to hear. "Judy, you're a fat butt. You're as big as an elephant walking across the classroom." And when it comes to Shane, I told you that he was hunting. Well, he called me, I think it was Sunday, and he said, "Hey, I'm coming home tonight." And I was like, "Why are you coming home?" Like, what the heck? And he was like, "I'm coming home tonight. I'm going to come help you." And I'm thinking in my head, what's he feeling guilty about? Why is he coming home? He never does this. So he got home. He got home late that night and he got up that morning. He went and sat in the woods looking for his deer. I get out and do animals, and he said, "Come on, let's go do what you want to do. Let's go get whatever you need done." And I'm thinking in my head, what do I need done? And Shane worked he got out of the woods. See, Jacob got here at 10. So let's just say 9 o'clock. He got out of the woods at 9 o'clock. And he was like, what do we need to accomplish? What do we need to accomplish? What do you want done? And I was like, I want roosting bars in this coop. I need the ladders fixed in these coops. I need the roosting shelf fixed on this roof. I need to clean out the coops. I need to get all the Christmas stuff and clean out the education center and get it ready for everyday use. I need to put up my bird feeders with the solar with the cameras in the pigeon coop. I need to clean out the pigeon coop. And he was like, let's go. Oh, I need you to clean out the barn stalls with the excavator. I need to get the barn stalls cleaned out. And he's like, let's go. And I'm sitting there. And I was doing my video last night, my YouTube video. I can't remember if it's Thursday's video or Saturday's. I think it's Saturday's video. And I was watching him. He looks like a daggum monkey. Okay. And it went like this. And I'll give you some insight to the video. So I have, how I'm like, want my education center Judy-fied. Okay. And I've spent a lot of money in that education center. So I bought white sheer fabric, 40 foot long. I bought 4 of them because like in a wedding where it's draped on the ceiling, that's what I wanted. Well, it came in the day that we were doing all of our chores. And so I get up there and I'm visioning what I want, right? I'm sitting here visioning what I want. And I get up there with the ladder and Jacob and Shane are just staring at me. And I'm like, I got this. I know exactly what I want to do. Y'all think this is going to look terrible, but just bear with me. It's going to be so cute. So I get the ladder, and the whole time I'm up there trying to drape the fabric, Shane's like, no, Judy, you need to start in the middle. Judy, you're doing it all wrong. It's not going to be centered. And I am getting flipping ticked off. I'm like, could you shut your trap and let me do it myself? Okay. I'm a hardhead. So Jacob and Shane are laughing at me, trying to put this fabric up on a big old huge ladder by myself. And I put it up and I came and sat down and I went, I hate it. And Shane was like, I said, I hate it. What am I going to do? I said, let me try to do it the other way. So then I take it all down. I get on the ladder and I go the other way. And Shane's like, no, Judy, you're doing it wrong. And I was like, why does he constantly critique every single thing that I do? Do I ever do anything right? I'm getting mad at this point. Okay. And Jacob is the boy that's getting the community hours. He's over there laughing. Shane, she's independent. She wants to do this by herself. Let her do it. And I get it all up and I come sit down and I'm almost in tears. I'm like, I hate it. I hate it. And Shane was like, Judy, why did you buy this? I said, because I thought it was going to look cute and it looks terrible. He goes, what did you spend? And I'm like, I spent like $250 on fabric because I wanted it to look cute. And he's like, show me a picture of what you want done. So I pull out my phone and I'm like, I wanted something like this. I said, I envisioned it looking like this and it's not. And I feel like I should just throw it all away and just be done with it. And he was like, and he just sat there and he looked at the phone and he looked at the fabric and he looked at the phone and he looked at the fabric. And he's like, I'll be right back. And I said, I looked at Jacob and I was like, he ain't no decorator. he does not know what he's doing, right? He has no clue what he's doing. He's a welder and he's a fixer, but he is not no darn decorator. So he goes and he gets his hammer and he gets string. And I was like, what is he doing? And he looks like a monkey. Okay, he has got this long ladder. And then he goes from the ladder to the rafters in the education center, and he is hanging like a monkey in the education center on the rafters with the nail and hammer and a string. And I did not know what he was about to do. I was like, he's going to kill himself. And I was like, it's going to be all my fault because I'm a whiny butt and cannot do it myself. To make a long story short, that day, he did exactly what I wanted. I would have never been able to accomplish it by myself. I would never be able to hang from a rafter looking like a monkey in the education center. Him and Jacob did my whole education center. He cleaned out the barn stalls with the excavator. He put up 2 solar panels with bird feeders in my pigeon coop so that I could have upfront footage of my pigeons. He helped clean out the pigeon coop. He went and built 3 roosting bars for my coop. He went and fixed the roosting thing in one of my coops that was sagging. He went and fixed that. He worked from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, non-stop. I'm talking killed himself for my farm and me. And in my brain, when he went away, because my brain doesn't work. I have to get by myself. But when he went away, and I sat there and I was putting the animals to bed, I was looking at my clean barn stalls and everything. I was like, we are a team. Why can't I see it? What's wrong with me? Why can't I see what other people see? Why am I stuck on this one thing and I feel like we're not a team? What is wrong with my brain? What is wrong with my emotions? What is wrong? Why do I not feel like Shane and I are on the same team when we are? And I think it's because I'm in emotional mind. Diane, it's time to dig it out. I think it's because I'm in emotional mind and I'm not recognizing it. Like, he's hunting. He doesn't care about me. All he cares about is being in the woods. And I've told you guys many of times on my life, it's coming out. I've told you many a times on my live that I forgot where I was going with this because I got distracted about this. It sucks getting old. You forget what you're thinking about and forgetting what you're about to say. Can you relate? Me too. I am stuck in emotional mind a lot. And I'm like, how do I stop? How do I... This is bad. How do I stop myself from being an emotional mind? How can I concentrate on being being what's the word? I sent him a text message when he was in the woods that night. And I said, I never want to be the wife that doesn't understand your hunting desire and like the sport that you do or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be the wife that nags you for going hunting. I don't want to be the wife that feels sorry for herself for being alone. I don't want to be that wife. That's not who I want to be. I don't. And this year, I tried really, really hard to go, okay, Judy, lock in your seatbelt. He's going hunting from October to February. So you're on your own. And I prepared myself to be as strong as I could be. But no matter how much you prepare yourself, you find yourself feeling sorry for yourself when hunting season comes around and you're a woman and you don't share the same love and passion. His hunting makes no sense to me. I mean, I do understand going in the woods, watching nature. That is fun. I do enjoy like watching baby deer with moms and, you know, the girl and the boy flirting, the buck and the doe flirting with each other, like watching that. I do enjoy it. Seeing the little squirrels run tree to tree and all that stuff. But it's not so enjoyable to me that I want to get up at 4:00 in the morning and sit in the freezing cold and watch it. I don't enjoy it that much. And I hate that I don't, but I don't. It's not something that I enjoy. And I felt like in order for me to be accepting of this desire that he does and be in the woods for months at a time, how do I get myself strong enough that I don't go, I'm over here by myself. I'm gonna have to do things by myself because my husband's a POS. He's in the woods, like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that wife. I do not. I do not. I do not. I do not. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to say this, but I'm faced with Shane starting to work out of town a lot. And I've been feeling sorry for myself. I have. I've been feeling sorry for myself. But that's not who I want to be. I want to be supportive. And when he came home and left hunting just to come help me, and it wasn't like I was complaining. I didn't say anything. I didn't even have anything when he said, hey, let's go do what you need me to do. I was like, what do I need him to do? Like, I didn't even know. He was like, I'm here. Let's do some things that you need me to do. I felt it was like I was sitting there looking at him going, he is the best thing since sliced bread. I am so lucky. Number one, my husband is very good looking. Number two, that he cares enough about my farm. Shane lets me do whatever I want. He is not the husband who's going to be up my butt. When it comes to Sneed's farmhouse, I run the show. He trusts me and says, "You've never failed us, Judy. You've never put us in debt. You've never, you've done nothing but grow us. And I trust you." And he lets me run the show when it comes to everything. And he's learned to trust me even when I'm like, okay, I have this vision. Just bear with me. This is what I want to do. And he's like, "You want to do what?" And I'm like, "I see it. I can see it. Shane, I want to dance in front of the field trip." "What? What does dancing have to do with a farm?" "Just trust me. Just trust me. This is what I want to do. And I want to do it to this song. And I want to put it to this book. And I want to do it to this. You're just going to have to trust me." And he does. He's like, but when I was sitting there watching him make my dreams come true with this daggum material, I was like, so often I just sit here and think that we're not a team. And we're such a team. I couldn't have started Sneed's Farmhouse without him. He can't do it without me. We've gotten to where we are today because we are working together. So why am I sitting here saying Shane's not on my team? Shane is in the ballpark, but Shane is not in the ball field that I'm in. Why do I say that? Why do I often feel like we're not in the same playing field playing on the same team? Why do I often feel that trigger? I think I have severely damaged my emotions. Not me. But when Shane said some things to me in the beginning of our marriage, it's stuck in my brain. It's stuck in my brain. And every time I tried to bring it up, he gets furious. He won't let me talk about it. Why? Because he thinks it's absolutely the most ridiculous thing that I'm worrying about. Let's just say being homeless. He's like, "I hear this once a month." Oh, dear Jesus, I hear this once. I hear this once a month. And it's like a broken record. When you have trauma, a trauma response, it is a broken record. It creeps up all the time. It's the same thing with like addiction. You're never just over it. It will creep up out of nowhere. If you don't constantly work on yourself, the addiction of whatever you're addicted to is going to sneak back up. It's the same thing with my sodas. If I don't work on it, it will sneak back up and I will be drinking Coke Zeros every single day, all day long. I see it go into the past. I'm like, how'd this happen? Now I've drank 7 Coke Zeros today and no water. It creeps back up. It's something you have to work out on a daily basis. It's not like you go to counseling and bam, you're all better. Everything's good. Like you went to counseling for 6 weeks and you got to the root of your problem and you know your trauma and you know your exercises that you're supposed to do to keep yourself from going into a blame anxiety attack. So it doesn't ever go away. You have to work on a daily basis to better yourself. Are you the best version of yourself? Do you ever reach it? I don't know. I don't think you do. I think it's like 4 steps forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 3 steps back. It's not a race. It's not like you win this award that you're the best version of yourself. I feel like the award that you win is being balanced. Recognizing your emotions lie to you, recognizing the PTSD, the trauma that's triggering these things that are happening, also checking your facts. Okay, did she say I was an elephant, fat butt, had gained a bunch of weight walking across the room? Is that the fact? Is that exactly what she said? No. She said, I walk hard. And I'm over here saying she said that I'm an elephant and gained a ton of weight and I'm a fat butt. No one likes me. That is not a fact. The fact is, she said, I walk hard. So checking your facts, checking, making sure. And even when there's things that you can't control, like your husband hunting for months, how do you get to acceptance? If you can't get to acceptance, you know what, girlfriend? You're going to live a miserable life being pissed off at your husband 24/7 because your husband travels or your husband hunts or your husband, whatever. You've got to work on you. Or if you're a guy and you're like, she drives me crazy. All she does is go shopping. How do you get to acceptance? How do you get to acceptance that, guess what, dude? This is who you married. You should have thought about that before you went down the aisle. Like, how do you come to acceptance when you can't accept what somebody does? How you get to acceptance is change yourself and the way you deal with it. Because you're never going to change your spouse. Never. Did you hear me? You're never going to change them. I am never going to change Shane Sneed unless he wants to change. So, in order for me to have a happy marriage, I'm going to have to come to acceptance that that dude likes to sit in the woods in the freezing cold and get up at 4 a.m. and sit in a tree. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But it doesn't make sense to Shane that I would spend $250 on white material for an education. Judy, you're putting white and pink in your education center. Yes. Yes, I am. Judy, this makes absolutely no sense. And I'm going to tell you why I'm doing it. The education center is for me. The education center is my sanctuary. It's a way for me to get out of the fact that I'm living with someone on hospice. It's a way for me to go in there and sit with my bunnies and know that my bunnies are taken care of, and my tortoise and my kitty cats. It's pretty because it makes me feel good. And the better I am, the better I'm going to be to people that come in the door. I don't have to make sense. I don't make sense to a lot of people. I'm not for everyone. A lot of people think it's silly that I put on makeup in the morning and talk about mental health when I'm a farm. I don't make sense, but I make sense to me. And this is who I am. And in order to be the best version of myself, I have to be myself. And being myself is to have a white and pink education center. It makes no sense to anybody but me. But I'm not the person that makes a lot of sense. It's not that I want to get away from field trips and stuff because I enjoy them. But I feel like God has bigger plans in that room. I don't know what they are. I've always had in my heart that I wanted to start an Al-Anon meeting in there. I've talked to Al-Anon about hosting a meeting there. Al-Anon, if you don't know what it is it is for families in addiction. The me, I'm not an addict to drugs or alcohol, but I have addiction in other things. So Al-Anon helps you work on you and get out of your addicted family member's life. It doesn't mean forever. It means love them at a distance, because we as fixers try to fix our families that are in addiction. We will go to the extreme to try to fix our family members. Al-Anon teaches you how to fix yourself, because you can't fix them. And so I've wanted to, there's no Al-Anon meetings near Coleman. The closest one to us is in Vestavia, and that's over an hour drive. I have to drive to Birmingham. So I quit going to meetings because it just wasn't feasible for me with having Larry on top of having a farm, being away from the farm for 3 hours a day. And so it's on my mind. Now, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But I feel like the education center is going to be so much more than just field trips. So I decided to decorate it the way I wanted to, because it's on my property. And I feel like I can always change it. You know, if pink and white get ugly, I can always change it. But I like it. It's girly. It's me. It's who I am. I don't make sense. And that's okay, because I don't have to make sense. You know why? Because if I sat here and tiptoed around trying to make everyone else happy, I'm going to lose the happiness myself. But when you're your true person, when you're true, who you are, and you're like, I make no sense. I realize that. I'm a train wreck. I realize that. I talk about mental health. I realize that. I have a farm. I have all these, I'm all over the map. I've learned how to use I've always had trouble with mental health, but I've learned how to use my struggles, and I've learned how to use, I'm going to call it a disability, because I feel like it's a disability. I've learned how to use it to my advantage. There was a time in my life when I would get a lot of energy and I would make really bad choices in life. Now, when I get a lot of energy, I go clean out a chicken coop and I make good out of it. And I'm not making bad decisions. My farm has changed my life, and you've changed my life. So as we go into 2025, I want you to understand, I hope that I explained emotional mind to you very well, and how your emotions are not facts. And when you get an emotional mind, you're not the best version of yourself. Oh, I didn't put on blush. You're not the best version of yourself, because you're stuck in She said I'm fat. She said I was big as an elephant. She said that I'm the ugliest person in the school. She said that I will never, ever have a boyfriend ever again. She said that I'm just terrible. I'm a train wreck. I'm going to fail school and I'm going to be a loser my whole life. That is emotional mind. She didn't say any of that. She said I walked hard. Check your facts. When you get an emotional mind and you're like wanting your husband to say a certain thing to you or your wife to, I don't know, say something to you're wanting a response from someone. I wanted you to do this. Stop. You're an emotional mind. You're not being the best version of yourself. You're wanting attention in a way that you need it. So how do you fix that need that you have within yourself? If you're needing attention from your husband or your wife, how do you meet your own need without getting them to do anything? Listen, all I have to do for Shane Sneed is cook him a meal with a dessert, and he thinks I am the best. He will brag on me bigger than ever. If I went up to him and said, hey, I don't feel loved. Could you just tell me how much you love me? You got 30 minutes here. I'm going to set the timer. You got 30 minutes to sit here and tell me how great I am. He's going to go, what? But if I'm needing to feel loved, what can I do to feel loved? Notice that it's an emotional, I'm in emotional mind because let's check the facts. Does Shane love me? Yes. Okay. So this neediness that I'm feeling is it's ridiculous. Okay. It is. But girls do that. Okay. Girls, I just need you to tell me you love me. I need you to just tell me I'm the best wife ever. And you got 30 minutes. Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes. Okay, Shane, hang on.
30 minutes, counting down.
Okay, Shane, you got 30 minutes to sit here and tell me how great and wonderful and that I'm the best wife ever and that your life has changed since the day you met me. You have to laugh at girls, but every one of us are just alike. We're all a train wreck. I hate that I have a cowlick right here. We're all a train wreck. We're all just alike. We all have the same needs. But at the end of the day, when you start getting an emotional mind, you need to either phone a friend and go, I need to set a timer and tell my husband to tell me how great and wonderful I am for about 30 minutes. That's all I need. And then she'll laugh with you and go, oh, you must have been on Aunt Judy's live because she talked about, wrong way. She talked about that. Yeah, me too. And he is not going to sit here for 30 minutes and tell me how great and beautiful and how wonderful I am. He's not going to do it. So what should I do? Well, Mary, why don't you just go clean out your closet? Because you're in emotional mind right now. And unfortunately, your husband is going to look at you like you have got 4 horns on your head if you sit there and ask him to set a timer to tell you how great and wonderful you are for 30 minutes. So probably the best chances, because then if you say that and he doesn't do it, then you're really mad. Oh, then he's on your ever living nerve, right? So the best thing you can do is fix you. So as we go into 2025, I must put on Christmas earrings. No. As we're going into 2025, I always tell you that you have a choice, right? Mental health is something that people don't like to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's what keeps you happy. You have got to constantly work on your mental health to keep you stable, to keep your marriage good, to keep your relationship with your children good, to keep your physical health good. You have to work on you. And it's not a race, it's something that we have to do every single day. But when you wake up, you have a choice, right? You have a choice to sit it out or you have a choice to dance. And I hope you dance. I will see y'all next week. My video that's coming out Thursday, be on the lookout for it. See you guys later.